MEIDAS, what image or idea or word do you conjure in your mind when you hear the name Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? A couple of things that come to my mind, some of them not nice, so I won't repeat them. I will say that the Republicans are starting to experience some well-earned karma by the fact that RFK has decided to run as an independent. It reminds me of the meme that says, karma is spelled ha 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 ha. Yeah. And so the RNC and Ronald McDaniels are really running to counter spin after supporting this crazy man for months because they assumed that because he was a Kennedy, they tend to think that everybody locksteps like they do is sort of like, hey, we'll just throw a black candidate out there. All the black people will love him. Yeah, Herschel Walker, not so much. Scott, not so much. Just because they got dark skin doesn't mean we're going to fall. I know they're hive-minded and they just believe, anything that comes out of the mouth of someone with an R by their name. That's not how we work. So anyway, yeah, this dude decided to go independent, and I am here for it. So the RNC is spinning, and there's a brilliant article by Midas Touch. And let's go ahead and check this out really fast. We'll share a screen. There we go. There we go. So it says RNC in full panic mode over RFK Jr. independent run. The right's conspiracy theory culture is coming home to roost, and it is. So it says a shift has occurred on how the RNC is engaging RFK Jr.'s presidential run, beginning after it was reported he would run as an independent. Yeah, and this is a guy who just like fist bumps Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, the kind of guy that believes that because he hasn't experienced racism, it can't exist. These are the kind of people that would probably tell a woman who's giving birth to her face as this 8-pound child is coming out of her hoo-hoo that it can't possibly be that painful because he's never experienced that. That's not how anything works. You don't have to personally experience something for something to exist, but I digress. So anyway, this is a great picture of him. And of course, they're going to find one where he looks, well, that's actually a pretty decent looking, RFK insane picture. We need to find, the equivalent for our side. But anyway, as you can see here, research. Make no mistake, RFK Jr. is just another liberal who wants to ban fossil fuels, raise taxes, and pass a Green New Deal. Like they don't want to raise tax. Don't get me started. All right. And so they hoped the run would hurt Biden, even though the candidate was unlikely going to advance past the Democratic primary. And I want to say this too. Again, they think that we are in lockstep. We see RFK and we long for the days of Camelot. But you know what? The days of Camelot are long gone, and he is not a good representation of it. I don't know what his namesake would think about his ideas and what he's promoting, but I don't think he will be a fan. And I do know that some of his own family are saying he shouldn't run. And so, more than likely he'll pill off some independent votes, but he'll pill off a lot of Republican votes. And the reason why I say this is Republicans a lot of the sane ones don't want to vote for Trump, but they may have a hard time stomaching the idea of voting for Biden because he's been so trashed by the right. So more than likely they will lean towards RFK, which again, karma. So yeah, this dude is definitely a gift to the Democrats with his independent run. You may hear a few people trying to say it will be a gift to the Republicans. Don't believe it. There's not a Democrat that I know of who would vote for this guy. Most Democrats I know see him as a plant. The only ones that I know that might lean left are the ones who sort of lean left libertarian or lean left sort of, independent, but not anyone who would vote D. No one, yeah. So he's a gift that's going to keep on giving to the Democrats. Thanks, RNC. We love y'all. We absolutely do. We absolutely rarely we do. All right. And so there was another thing on here too. Let me minimize this real fast. As most of you know, Hamas attacked Israel. And I've been trying to figure out how to even touch on the subject because I've often felt it's very disrespectful for people who aren't of a certain culture to speak on these types of things. I will say that I can talk on the overarching idea of um, I'm not a pacifist, but I do believe that humanity has evolved past the need for war to resolve conflict. And I think that we need to try to find a new way of resolving conflict. I say, oh, sort of tongue in cheek, that I don't understand how innocent people are going to be used as collateral damage to progress someone else's goals. I'm like, the tribes had it best when they would get their champions to fight in the sands, and whoever lost, lost. Now we're throwing innocent bodies in the pile while rich dudes are sitting around smoking cigars and making war plans in paneled rooms. It's just disgusting. I think that the losers of these wars are the children, the helpless, the poor and impoverished who don't ask for these things on both sides. On both sides, I feel bad for both sides. Someone's asking for this, and I saw a comment where a guy was like, "Well, it's mafia style, baby. You go and you kill somebody else's family. They get to go kill your family." No, no, no. That's not mafia style. Well, depending on the mafioso, that's what I call it's a sociopathic, psychopathic style of looking at the world. You don't go and hurt innocent people because of what someone does to you. Now, I would say that if you want to go and act vengeance, there were some ways you could write an angry song. I did. Or, or you go after the person who harmed you. Go after the actual person who harmed you. I've never understood this idea of going after people who did not harm you to harm the other person. To me, even if I sympathize with your cause, I can't sympathize like with the Ukraine. I've heard people argue that, the Ukraine did X, Zelensky did this. They tell me all these reasons why the Ukraine war is okay. And I'm telling them, okay, let's look at it this way. On the Russian side, you have soldiers. On the other side, you got unarmed civilians who aren't trained for war. Even if what you say about Putin and them being wronged is right, and it's not, it's just propaganda. But let's say that's the case. That makes it okay to shoot 5-year-olds in the head and grandmas. I remember seeing a picture of a young girl next to the body of her mom crying. There should not be any incidents where something happening between two rich superpowers where a little girl's crying next to her dead grandma. Was World War II a righteous war? Yes. And that's why I say I can't completely be a pacifist, because I understand war was needed to combat Hitler. But if, due to what some people were saying, they were fighting over oil, now it's human trafficking, because now they got to make it seem like a humanitarian thing. Before it was oil or whatever. Whatever reasons they think, killing Mimas is not the answer. It's never been the answer. I just think some people like war. So they find, hey, we get to go shoot stuff and people, great. It's going to be like Call of Duty. I don't know what it's going to take for humanity to realize that this is an archaic, outdated way of dealing with conflict. But someone somewhere is going to have to figure that out and figure out what the remedy for that is. Because this isn't it. I don't want to see dead children from either side on my screen. We shouldn't have to see this. There are no easy answers. I'm not to claim I'm going to have, I don't have any. I just know that this isn't it. This isn't it. And that's all I can say on that. Just let me know what you think on the comments. And I love you guys, as always, and I hope you had a great weekend.